Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and welcome to another episode of On Wednesdays We Wear Orange.
A very special episode.
A very special indeed, because this episode is going to be run by Greg. By himself. What?
Something like that. Born out of necessity.
I'm so proud of him. He's worked up to this, you guys are proud too, I know it. So, before Greg shares his story about his time in the hole, I don't have any experience with it, so I really can't. This is his story.
I have more than enough.
Before we tell this story, before he tells it, I guess, can you please like this video and leave a comment? Let me know if you've ever been to jail or prison and been to the hole. Let me know what your thoughts about being in the hole is. Do you think that's something that's acceptable?
Yeah, the practice of solitary confinement in general.
Yeah, I would love to know how you guys feel about it. And if you have any questions for Greg about the story or any of that, leave them in the comments, because we want to make videos about what you want to hear about.
Exactly.
Also, like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're new, turn the bell notification on, because I'm not going to do an upload schedule. I know, you're probably tired of hearing of it, but I'm not.
I love getting notifications about people I like to watch, so.
Same. All right, let's get into this.
As Megan was saying, this story is going to be about my time in the hole. I'll tell you a little bit about why I was there, what it was like to be there, the kind of ins and outs, how you cope with being locked in a cell for 23 hours a day, 24 hours a day, some days. You get the hour is for showering or for rec. Rec is a very generous term for it. The story of how I ended up in the hole the first time is kind of long and a little complicated and involves a lot of bad decision making on my part. I ended up falling in with some people that weren't the best of influences, but as I've learned from reading, ASPD it increases your chances of gang behavior and just violence, and everything negative about you is just, you're more likely to engage in that kind of behavior. And sure enough, I did. I ended up assaulting a guy with a friend of mine, a comrade. We jumped this dude for some almost made up reason. It was more a test of me and the other dude to see if we would to ride out. And I ended up breaking my left hand because I'm not a great puncher, I guess. I don't know. I think I hit the back of dude's head and it fractured my wrist, or not wrist, but these bones right here. Boxer's fracture, maybe, something like that. But so we did that. He immediately, the guy I did it with, was immediately booked for it. I managed to walk away and hide in the yard for a little bit. I sat down, changed clothes, started smoking a rollie, and just trying to lay low. It worked for a couple minutes. The guards were walking the yard looking for the other person, and eventually they were pointed in my direction and booked me and took me to the hole. I was trying to say it wasn't me for a while, so I didn't seek medical attention for my broken hand, which swelled up something vicious and hurt real bad, and probably is part of the reason my hand hurts so bad today. But I was in the hole, and I was going to go through it in the hole without medical attention and just kind of in the least ideal environment that I could have. I ended up being celled for most of it with the dude, my friend. We ended up doing that 6 months in the hole together, which, I guess thanks for the prison letting people who assaulted someone stay together in the hole. It seems like a weird decision. Wouldn't you want to keep them separate? I'm glad for it, because we were close at the time. I could not imagine doing this time in the hole without at least someone halfway decent to talk to. We were definitely found guilty of the assault and given 6 months to deal with being in the hole. And being in the hole entails just so much boredom and downtime and just being trapped in a closet. And you only get showers 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you are not ready in any way when they come to your cell, because they go one at a time down the cell block, coming around, taking each people out, the cells out one at a time, because there's like two showers on the top and the bottom each, maybe for a total of 4 or a total of 2. It was not very many. You get a couple minutes in the shower and then you go back to your cell. But you walk to the shower with your hands cuffed behind your back, holding all your soap and towel and what, not your towel you can try to strap around you. There's a lot of nakedness in the hole. You get strip searched for everything. But even when you go to the shower, you have to like show that you have nothing on you except your towel and soap and whatnot. But so you get your shower, go back. That's 3 days a week. Rec is an hour in the one where I was. It was basically just some cages outside, and not very big cages, so you could just walk around outside for a little bit, which, like, yay for fresh air and whatnot. But even it's like the worst approximation of rec time that you could have. It's most of the time not even worth going out there, because then you're just trapped outside and you can't sit down if you want to. I don't know. It's very easy to be miserable in the hole, and isolation is bad for the psyche. It's an experience unlike any other. We passed the time by, like, we both liked similar music and knew some of the same songs, so we just kind of tried to remember as many song lyrics as possible and, like, sing them, which was, I don't know, it was fun. The library, there's a sheet of paper with a list of books. You can request them in order from, like, put a 1 next to the one that you want the most, and, like, down to 5. And whichever ones are available, they'll give to you. And you can get one or 2, and that lasts you a week. And which may be enough for some people, but I am a voracious reader and would power through my books in, like, that day. So we ended up kind of working together to request books that we both liked. So we went through the Harry Potter series pretty quick, because you could get four of the books at a time, I think, which was nice. That was actually would almost keep me content for a week. Which, like, I love the Harry Potter books. I read a bunch of stuff in there. I can't remember most of it now, but reading was one thing. I was really into, like, yoga and meditation, which, thank God, because that really, it's a slow thing that takes a lot of time, or can, if you want to do it that way. Like, you can hold meditation yoga poses for, like, minutes at a time, and it gives you, like, a tangible thing to work towards, and, like, I don't know, you can see yourself getting better at it. So it's a semi-constructive way to pass downtime. You can try to work out in the cell, but then you're getting sweaty, and if it's not shower day, that's fun. Another terrible part of being in the hole is that you get no commissary. You're reduced to, like, your basic jail stuff and trays only. So whatever the prison gives you, you have to eat it, because if you don't, you're going to be so hungry, because you're already so hungry. It's not enough food. Not enough anything in the hole. And it's there. I mean, you find humans are nothing if not adaptable, and you find ways to entertain yourself. There's this thing called fishing, which is where you tie something, like, heavy and small that'll fit under the door to a piece of string that you've taken out of your mattress or t-shirt or whatever. You make some string and you make what's called a car, and you slide it under your door to other cells, and they will throw out their own line and hook them together. That's why you want heavy things, because they cross over each other, and then you can pull one this way, pull one that way. You pull it into your cell and you attach whatever and send it to the other cell. So you can pass magazines to anything that will fit under the door. People will smash down food items to trade food items. Like, I don't know. You do what you can, and there's block workers who they don't. I don't think they're. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. There's block workers there who can sometimes get into people's property, and what essentially happens is if you have tobacco in your property that's stored in the hole, you can try to pay a block worker to get into that property and get your tobacco. It's risky for the hole worker. But they make a lot of money off it because they're in someone's property, so they can just be like, look, this is what I want for it. They're like, yo, just take it out of my property if you get me that pack of kite. So people had cigarettes, and that's like the highest commodity item in the hole for sure. So, and people are generous with their tobacco, thankfully. Like, I don't know. We're all in the hole together. It sucks for all of us. So a lot of times they would, if you had a friend, you could get a cigarette from them. And what you do to smoke is you either push all the water out of your toilet with you scoop it all out, and then you can use suction, not suction, but pressure, like a plunger, and push all the water out. And when there's no water in there, there's actually like a vacuum pull that you can smoke into, and all the smoke will go down into the hole in the toilet. There's also a vent next to the toilet that sucks air out, and there's the air conditioning up top, and there's a little bit of ventilation suction in there that you can smoke into, but that tends to kind of disperse a little bit. But overall, the COs and stuff let you do it as long as you're not incredibly out of place with it. I mean, it's just a whole lot of sameness broken up by flurry of activity at nighttime when everybody starts fishing and just yelling on the doors and just trying to have fun however they can. And mail call is one of the highlights or lowlights of your day in the hole. It's one of those brief chances of interaction from your people or the outside world or books or magazines, whatever. But there's almost nothing more devastating than having the mail people pass by without a second glance at your cell. That's heartbreaking. It never gets easier, and it's just one of those things, man. So if you know someone who is in jail, write them a letter. They will love to hear from you no matter what. Let's see. Yeah, man, it's just a lot of crap. So when I finally got out of the hole, I got back to the block. Some stuff had transpired when I was in the hole, and people who I was formerly associated with no longer didn't really care for me anymore. So I was tricked into a cell of somebody else's, and the door was almost shut on me, and I was jumped by two people and got the ever-living crap kicked out of me. I managed to make it out of the cell and back to my cell without being shanked or dying, but I definitely had a gash on my head. I was bloody. It was rough, man. And so a couple days after that, I was like, man, I do not feel like being at this prison anymore. It's probably not the safest place for me. I knew I had talked to them after this assault and been like, yo, is this over? Have I paid my debt for whatever you perceive my injustice to be? And they're like, yeah, I think so, but it wasn't enough of a guarantee that I wanted to play with it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to a different prison. I got for this assault, I ended up with a year hit on my parole hearing. So kids, don't join gangs, don't do dumb shit. I literally threw away a year of my life for an assault that I didn't want to do, never would have had to, and it literally earned me a beating. Man, that's real dumb. But so I went back to the hole to wait for a transfer, and it was no better the second time around. In fact, I think it was almost worse because I didn't know when I was going to be able to get out of the hole, because I'm literally just waiting on transfer paperwork to go to another prison. and it was a rough time. During that time, like, there was a riot in the yard, and a whole bunch of new people came down to the hole, and that was nice because that's more tobacco, so you can smoke more cigarettes. But other than that, and it was just a long wait, and being isolated and dealing with like this achingly long stretch of time, especially knowing that like I had just made these stupid mistakes, and like could have been going home. Like I when that parole hearing came up, I should have gone home, but due to my own idiocy, and as I reflect on it, like probably some ASPD behaviors, like that, it was clearly just bad, just unskillful thinking that led me into situations where I just didn't say no and like appealed to my baser instincts. Like, I don't know, a lot of the time I'm a little dude, so I don't always feel the most powerful, and to be like in a gang type environment is empowering. Like, there is a reason people like to, there's family, there's family, brotherhood, camaraderie. It's people being useful to one another, and making the best out of a bad situation by preying on other people most times, which, not the best, but prison's its own world, prison's its own environment with its own rules, and I guess I thought that's how I was going to play by them. But yeah, man, I finally transferred to my new prison and did not go back to the hole. Once I realized that, like, that was not I didn't want to spend another year in prison. I didn't want to go back to doing the same things that got me in the hole, because that was so stupid. So I really started taking like my program seriously. Like, went to the TC and did my best to like stay away from any type of drama or clicking or activity that could land me in another spot with parole, because I never wanted to confirm their beliefs of me that I was a criminal. You know what I mean? Like, I am, but I also am capable of not being one, and having a hit for an assault is not the way to do that. So I really tried to correct my behavior and do what I needed to do. And when I had my next parole hearing, they granted my release, which was nice. Like, I went home and I had turned a 1.5 to 4 into a 2.5 to 4. And those experiences really, like, being in the hole is trauma. It really is. Like, I cannot fathom how people do long stretches of time with no celly in the hole. It's cruel and unusual and has to be stopped as a practice. Like, it's used in prison for everything. The hole is the go-to punishment for many offenses, and they tend to hold people with psychiatric conditions in there for long stretches of time with no access to mental health care. Like, food strikes were super common in the hole. People would just stop eating in order to get someone to pay attention to them, to hear their grievances or address any, like, these misjustices or what have you. And, like, I don't know if they work. I don't know. I think it's a good try. Like, I understand why people do it, and it is a noble thing. It's like, I care about this thing so much that I'm going to stop eating. But the prison doesn't care. Like, I don't know. I wish they did. I wish that the hole was not the punishment that we reach for the first time anybody acts up. Like, it just makes you more angry and more bitter towards the system if it doesn't deter you from doing it again. Because most people go through the experience and they're like, once you get out of it, you're like, that sucked, but it's over now. and it's not necessarily as much of a deterrent as it could be. Like, I don't know, rehabilitation, not punishment, is the method we need to work towards in the future. But yeah, that was a little bit about my experiences in the hole and what I learned from them and the mistakes I've made in the past that have gotten me where I am now. I like the meditation part. There's almost nothing better than having all the time in the world when you want to meditate. So, but it's super hard to find time. That's one of the ways that I managed to trick myself into not hating it so much, is that when you're out of prison, you would do almost anything to have the amount of free time that you have in prison. It is a form of a vacation. So I just tried to keep that in mind, that this is something, this time frame, this chunk of free time is something that a lot of people would love to have, and I can make the best use of it. However, in my case it was meditation and yoga, but take advantage of that free time while you have it, because I sure as hell don't have as much of it as I wish I do now. But yeah, that's all for this one, and hopefully Megan will come up with an outro. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
All right, guys, that is it. That's Greg's story. I wanted to add a little bit. I did listen from the outside of the room.
Sneaky.
When I hear about Greg's time in the hole, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart, because I wish I would have written you. I wish I would have reached out to you. I wish I was there for you. And then I think about,
would have been nice.
Yeah, and then I think about all the other people that are still suffering and that don't have anybody. And like he said, if you know anyone in jail or prison, just write them a letter. Just literally a tiny little piece of paper. Just be like, hey, thinking about you. Hope you're doing okay. It will change it'll just change everything.
They will remember that for probably the rest of their life. Definitely the rest of their bid. An unexpected letter out of nowhere is the greatest gift you can give somebody in prison.
When I went to jail, I had the first page or a page or two out of the phone book randomly, and it just so happened that my friend's address was on there, and I wrote him a letter. I had just gotten there, and I never heard back. And he met up with me later and was like, "Oh, I got your letter. It was awesome." I'm like, I didn't get yours.
Yeah, to me, it's a super low effort thing that you can do. They might not write back. They might write back. You don't even have to write back after that. You've already done your thing when you send. Yeah, when you send it there. It would be great if you continue to write them. Yeah.
But it makes me sad knowing that you had to be alone, and that's just, to me, being alone in a room for that long. Just, it sounds like trauma. I can't even imagine living it. So I'm very proud of you becoming a better person because of it. It really did.
There's also a large event that happened while I was in the hole that I left out of this for a different video, because that's
okay. I was gonna mention that. So there is something even more traumatic that happened in his time. Yeah. So we will share that in another video, because it definitely deserves its own video.
For sure.
And it's a heavy one. But yeah. Thanks for watching. If you like this, if you like Greg doing his own stuff, let us know, because I'm all about this. I want him to do this. We have something in the works, and he has to do his own little bit, and I'm pretty excited to see how it goes. It's usually far easier for me to bounce off of you, but yeah, I tend to ramble. I like it. I like talking to you. You ramble when we talk anyway. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave us an orange heart. I know I just said no colored hearts, but orange preferred, but any heart would be cool in the comments. I missed the it was in my last video. The not doing colored hearts one. Well, yeah, because people can't do black hearts. They can't. Sometimes they're not. I guess on computers or certain phones, it's not a color choice. So I just say leave a heart, orange if you can. Right on. I dig it. All right. Bye, guys.